And next we have Fresh Blood by Jessica Hicks. It is 271 pages, $2.99, available on Kindle Limited. Here's the author's description. He was climbing up the corporate ladder. Now he's climbing the food chain. Felix used to be a traveling salesman drifting through the galaxy and hawking his wares. Used to be, that is, until a freak accident in an out-of-the-way system. One worth landing later, and Felix finds himself stranded on a wild alien planet, front and center in the deadly role he never auditioned for, to entertain his secret audience. The upside? A fellow passenger made it to the escape pod with Felix, with his reptilian stranger at his side. He's not totally alone. The downside? They don't share a language. Worse, there's not one scrap of survival know-how between them, and an ominous clawing is coming from outside the escape pod. As if the struggle to avoid becoming lunch and finding some of their own wasn't enough, an autonomous implant from an unknown source seeks to integrate them into the system. So they actually picked this up on a recommendation from a different author, the author in Liturgy. And the author has advertised this novel in several of his groups, but it's not actually lit RPG. But the author's also not advertising it on Amazon in the novel description or in the title as lit RPG, so it's not going to get a score of 4 to 10 for me. But just be aware that this is a survival and crafting story with a few game lit elements, and that's not that bad. I said the author's didn't advertise on RPG, so it's not really a big deal for me. And I actually like the story. There are, again, the game elements exist here, and some sparse combat here. I like the crafting in the story. There's a gradual development of technology, base building, resource gathering that kind of revolves around an implant that's placed into the main character and the secondary character's brain that gives them these game-like powers and abilities. And that includes, again, things like respawning and an inventory system and a crafting system that lets them pick up resources and get upgrades and use shortcut game-like elements to build things. However, again, there is no progression system, which is why it's not lit RPG. So they're not leveling up. They're not gaining skill increases. The best that you could say is that they're gaining, they're advancing a tech tree, or they're advancing a crafting kind of system tree. That's about as close as you can. For some people, that might be enough to be lit RPG, but in this case, for me, it's not, because that's a system, essentially like a magic system, and there's no actual personal growth for any of the characters, and that's just not what this system is. Had it been there, that would have been a different case, but I still actually enjoy the crafting. If you're looking for an action story, though, this is definitely not it. There are some action scenes. There are a couple fights here and there, but there are these long stretches of just crafting and dialogue, which is kind of funny sometimes, and character development and just other kinds of tension sometimes, but not necessarily action. So just be aware of what this is. I enjoyed it on the whole. Get score 7.2 out of 10 for me. Mostly because, again, there's some game elements here that I did enjoy, crafting and such. But again, that's one of those things I enjoy. So Fresh Blood, Survival World, book number 1 with the score 7.2 out of 10.